All right, team, welcome back to the channel, man. It's good to see you. So we're going to jump straight into some mock board questions for the Army Body Composition program. This is probably one of just a few regulations, if you will, that really is that some of our soldiers, they come face to face with mano a mano, right? And if we're not doing things right, and if we're not following all of our programs right, they're going to lose, right? Because this is a program that if we're not in compliance with, soldiers can be separated. So it's important to know and how to execute this program to the T. We got to be professionals at everything that we're doing. So that's what this channel is all about. It's all about professional development and growth and military news and all that stuff. So if that's what you're into, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Click the notification bell so that you can stay up to date on future content. And if you have questions about this program, or if there's another regulation that you're looking to deep dive into, make sure you leave some comments down below, and we'll add it to the queue. I can't promise when it'll get done, but I can promise you that it will be so, because this is the way. So what I'm going to do is we're going to give you some standard board questions. And by the way, I mean, this is what I take into all my promotion boards and competition boards. I bring in this packet, and I ask, a couple questions from here. Now, I do have some standard board questions in here, and I'm going to ask you those. And along the way, I'll give you some tips and tricks on how to answer questions and present yourself a little bit more professionally to a promotion board or to your board members. But odds are you're noticing to see that we're not asking as many standard board questions, and so we're asking situational questions. Now, that is true, but I'm telling you, you need to know your standard questions. You need to know what's in the book, because that is the only way that you're going to be able to demonstrate. Listen to me, friends. If you're just trying to jib-jab and bob and weave and think that you can handle a little bit of stress fractures going on in your noggin during the board and answer some situational questions and be given a go, like you're smoking crack. I mean, come on now. What are we doing? You need to continue to study and to know the book and to eat the book, because when you answer those situational questions, you can put out regulatory information, right? Does that make sense, friends? Let's get to this. So what is the primary objective of the Army Body Composition program? Right, so the primary objective, of course, is to achieve and maintain optimal well-being and performances for all conditions. If that, I don't know if you heard that or not, but that was kind of loud. Let's see. So what are the secondary objectives for the Army Body Composition program? So this is one, and I left a little pause, so you could pause the video if you want, right? This is one that has kind of a list, and you'll see that from time to time. The answer is a long statement, it's a long paragraph, it's a bulletized list. Get down just a couple, and then make it so that you can talk for about 20 seconds on those couple words or something. So, the book answer for what is the secondary objectives of the ABCP, isn't that a thing? Like we say ABCP program, but that P is the program. Whatever, get over it. Is to assist in establishing and maintaining operational readiness, physical fitness, health, and professional military appearance, establish body fat standards, and then provide procedures by which personnel are counseled to assist in meeting the standards. Right. So that's the whole answer there. So if you said, what are the secondary objectives are to establish and maintain operational readiness, establish body fat standards, and provide procedures for service members to achieve those standards, I'd give you a go. Next up, what are the male measurement sites? So the male measurement sites are neck and waist. And it's on the waist, it's directly over the navel. What are the female measurement sites? So the female measurement sites are neck, waist, and hips. And I would challenge you just to say that briefly. Sergeant, what are the female measurement sites? First Sergeant, The female measurement sites are neck, waist, and hips, right? Come back to center, or however it is that you do. Now, you need to know and to understand that the neck site for both males and females is the exact same. It's the point directly underneath the larynx and as perpendicular to the ground as you can make it without taking trapezoids into the equation. So the larynx, of course, is our Adam's apple, right? And males and females both have a larynx, right? Is more prominent or predominant in males. It protrudes a little bit more. But we both have this this little noggin here that moves up and down when we swallow, right? And so you need to find the point just below. This is where a lot of dudes get things wrong because we like to go on top of the larynx or over the larynx, and those are all the wrong answers. So it should be the point just below. And then for the waist, again, for the males, right, it's directly over the navel. And for the females, for the waist, it's the narrowest portion of the hips, right? The narrowest portion of the hips. And for the hips, it's the widest. It is the largest circumference area of the hips going around the buttocks. How many measurements must be taken? Right, so we take 3, all 3. Don't just ever do 2. Right, neck, waist, hips, neck, waist, hips, neck, waist, hips, neck, waist, neck, waist, neck, waist. Even if the first 2 are the exact same, you still do the third one, right? And with our recent changes in the ABCP program that have come out, you need to make sure that not 1, but 2 5500s or 5501s are generated on the exact same day. So soldier fails height and weight, and then they are taped, given a body fat assessment, and you generate a 5500. A second taping team, a second crew altogether, needs to do the exact same thing again. So in theory, right, in practice, everybody's getting taped not 3 times, but 6 times. And why? Because it's that stinking serious. Let's see, what is considered to be safely attainable goals to enable soldiers to lose excess body fat and meet the body fat standards? So the question is, what's satisfactory progress from after you failed your ABCP and you're entered into the program? What's satisfactory progress on that next month? And of course, that's 1% or 3 to 8 pounds. And what are the actions that are required when a soldier is determined to be exceeding the body fat standard? Right, so 3 basic things, right? Notification counseling, soldier action plan, and nutrition counseling. How long does the commander have to flag? And this is the same answer regardless of what the issue is being flagged for, and that's 3 days, right? 3 days. So those are my standard questions. We're going to give you some situational questions. We're going to dive into this a little bit more, and then I think you'll see how some of these standard answers come out and come out to play, if you will, during some of these. So you're assigned to assist in conducting height and weight for your unit, and you notice that a senior is wearing spandex. What is your response? Your response should be the exact same thing, no matter who it is, that maybe a junior who's in your charge. You need to walk up and inform the service member that wearing spandex during a height and weight assessment is unauthorized, right? You have a soldier who has a temporary profile and says they can't participate in the unit's reconditioning program. What is your response? So you have essentially a soldier who's failed height and weight and needs to achieve positive or satisfactory performance in the next month. And says, hey, I'm broken. I'm on a profile. I can't do PT. And I know I have another height and weight that's coming up. What happens then, Sarge? Right. Well, the answer is you need to meet 1% or 3 to 8 pounds to have satisfactory progress. Now, if you don't do that, that's okay. You can have a bad month. But the next month, you need to have satisfactory progress. And that's off the previous 5,500, not the original. Right? And then after that, you're going to have another month. And you could have a bad month again. And I'm going to encourage you and tell you to just to keep after it, because, you're going to have another month. And on that one, you can't have unsatisfactory progress. So it's okay to have a bad month or two, but you can't have multiple bad months together, and you can't have 3 non-consecutive bad months in a 6-month period. Boom. Your unit screened 100% of your company 3 months ago and publishes a memorandum that another 100% is going to be conducted next month. You overhear soldiers complaining about the frequency. What is your response? So this is what I'm looking for really here is do you take ownership of what your company is doing, or are you a victim for what your company is doing? I mean, the right response, in Stoker's opinion, is that you're going to tell the service member that, hey, big stinking deal, right? The commander can conduct a height and weight any day he wants. Right? We can do urinalysis every single week if that's what we wanted to do. We could take it ACFT every single stinking week if that's what we want to do. Like, get on board in Army, man. You're actually getting paid to have your height and weight measured. I mean, come on now. But then you also need to know, in this, and this is maybe ties back into some other questions that you might be asked. How often do we tape, or how often do we conduct height and weight? So, height and weight happens every 6 months, right? The APFT happened every 6 months, right? And so we had it in our mindset, and this is where a lot of leaders got this wrong, because they assume that because we did both in the same time, right, every 6 months, that they're part of the same program. But they're two distinct programs, and they always have been, right? And so what you're going to need to know in the future, right, whether the APFT comes back or whether we full-fledged into record ACFTs, is that they're two separate programs between what we do for physical training and then the Army Body Composition program. So it may remain every 6 months for an evaluation for both, but you could do one 2 months apart as long as you get them every 6 months. Like, they don't have to be done consecutively. An APFT card may have had height and weight and no or no-go boxes for the assessment, but it's not required to conduct an APFT. Two totally distinct, separate programs. So the other thing is, how often are service members taped? Like, say, hey, I'm getting ready to take some leave, and I'm going to miss, being back on the 20th. What are you going to tell that soldier as far as their height and weight is concerned? Or maybe the question is going to come across like, a service member missed a month. What happens then? So if you dig in to 600-9, you're going to see that height and weights are required on a monthly basis, every month. Doesn't specifically say every 30 days. Doesn't specifically say on the same day. Just once a month. Sometime during the month of January. Sometime during the month of February. Sometime during the month of March. You'll generally find that we like to do them around the same time. Maybe it's the third Thursday. Maybe it's the last Friday. Maybe it's the first Monday. Whatever the case is. But all that does is it establishes a battle rhythm for our company operations. But it doesn't have to be done on the same day. You could, in theory, tape on the 31st of the month and then on the 1st of the following month. And that would be a taping once a month. Right? That'd be kind of dirty. But it could be done. So what happens, if a service member misses and they're not going to be back around on the 20th and they were taped on the 20th of last month? Hey, soldier, it's not a big deal. We'll get you taped either before or after you go on leave. And if somebody misses it altogether, maybe it's because of a sickness or because of profile, maybe they're on quarantine, whatever the case is, well, that's okay. You tape them the following month. Now, all that's going to do, it doesn't reset any clocks per se, but it does reset because you have a break. So if it had non-satisfactory progress, non-satisfactory progress, and then you had a break, that third one may not be continuous, but because now that we have three, so that's kind of a bad example. So let's say you had non-satisfactory progress and then a break, right, on quarantine and leave for the month, and the service member comes back and you have non-satisfactory progress. That doesn't count as 2 consecutive because you had an entire month of a break, but that would be 2, and all that service member needs is 1 more month of non-satisfactory progress, and it's hit the road. Hey, I hope you enjoyed the content of this video. If you did, make sure you smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel again, man. Share this thing out with some of your battle buddies. Bring them in on the conversation. We can keep growing this community. As always, man, I appreciate you guys. You stay out there, you keep grinding, and you stay stoked.